Jean Vanier said, "We're not called to do extraordinary things, but to do ordinary things with extraordinary love." Until having a little girl with learning disabilities, I'd been blind to my own fear and prejudices. I felt lost, depressed, isolated, and alone. I felt we no longer fitted in anywhere, and for the first time in my life, I felt that there was an unseen barrier between me and others around me. Then I came together with Bernice, who'd also felt called, and gradually a team grew up around us and WAVE began. Together we envisaged that WAVE would provide support and help for people with learning disabilities and their families. What we hadn't expected was how WAVE would change all of us.
I'm so glad to be finally sharing the findings from this project with you. This research gives us a sense of whether our vision of seeing communities where we're all valued equally is achievable and valid. We were determined at the outset that our research should deliver new and practical learning for ourselves and for others. This was a surprise for me too. Nearly half of the population knows someone with a learning disability. So it's important to know at the outset that inclusion around learning disability is not a minority issue. So with that level of connection, you would expect a fair amount of socializing to be happening between people with and without learning disabilities. We asked people, how often do you mix socially with people with learning disabilities, if you don't have one, or without learning disabilities, if you do? 12% of the UK population say that they often mix socially. The majority do not mix at all or do so rarely. Is that through deliberate avoidance, mutual choice, or lack of motivation and opportunity? When we asked people if they would be interested in going to social places that make it easy to mix, 4 out of 5 were open to the idea. So that's the national context. What about in Muswell Hill? We asked WAVE contacts to be honest in recalling their feelings about mixing before they started coming to WAVE, and this helped us to understand some of the barriers to mixing. These will be familiar feelings and attitudes for many of us. First of all, many don't see the need to mix. Social segregation has been the expected norm for most people over the age of 30. Secondly, nervousness around saying the wrong thing or of not understanding what is being said or being ignored makes some of us feel uncomfortable mixing. Unpredictability, not knowing what to do in response to unfamiliar behavior or unfamiliar social expectations when mixing. At the core of all of these is not wanting to be put into a vulnerable position. Fear of hurt, pity, patronizing, being judged makes some of us avoid mixed social situations. Here's how some of our respondents spoke about barriers that existed for them.
You are not in touch that much in your daily life with people who are different, and so it's not the knowing that makes you insecure. You don't quite know what to expect.
I would rather be alone than with people who don't accept me.
I didn't really have anything against people with learning disabilities. I just didn't make any effort to engage with them.
So, that's the sad news. Thankfully, we have some good news. Muswell Hill stands out as displaying more positive behaviour around people with and without learning disabilities mixing together. There are more community connections, more frequent mixing, more definite positive interest in mixed social places, and we have more willing explorers here than is the national average. So what can we do to encourage more mixing? Who you know is more of an influence than what you know, or what you've been trained in, or what you happen to be an expert in. Having a role takes so much pressure off initially, reducing awkwardness and anxiety for those with and without learning disabilities who may be anxious. Comfortably mixing is facilitated by a levelling integrated activity. That simply means something that is genuinely welcoming, safe, easy, and fun for everyone to join in with. Some of the things that have helped people to keep coming to WAVE: showing acceptance The pioneers at our groups play a vital role in modelling behaviour that puts others at ease. Taking time, taking things at a slower pace, as well as committing to taking time to get to know people who are different. People may start to mix socially because they know it's a good thing to do, but if it's more effort than it's worth, then people won't feel motivated to keep doing it. Fun is the least expected emotion from mixed abilities socialising, and yet it is a word often associated with WAVE. Having fun makes it easier for those who lack confidence to mix.
When I come to WAVE, I feel really included as people come up to me and introduce themselves. I really like the activities at WAVE Cafe, and I always look forward to going. My favourite things are the yoga and the chocolate meditation and the zebra pottery.
For this afternoon, though, I think the key learning I want you to take away is very simple. Anything that we can do to promote more fun interaction between people with and without learning disabilities will start to break down the vicious circle of avoidance that leads to social segregation. The more we do this stuff of mixed abilities socialising, the easier it gets, the better we feel about doing it, and the more others are encouraged to join in, creating the possibility for new and unexpected friendships to grow. Places that make it easy for people with and without learning disabilities to mix then provide a potential antidote to feelings of social isolation and social pressure that are often so evident in our community. The question is, can we ripple this change out further? We're all here today because we want to see more inclusive communities. I think the research findings are encouraging. Most people are up for greater mixing, and when we do it, there's a sense that everyone benefits.